Shalom. This how woo. What's up, y'all? So listen, right? I don't know if anybody went on TikTok and checked me out yet, but it is what it is. That's what's up. But I would really appreciate it if y'all did. But yeah, so let me tell you what's been going on in my wonderful life, my super blessed life that the Most High has, been doing for me because, I've been on my job, doing what I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Respecting my pa and respecting his laws. So my nephew, my sister's boy, right? I got two twin sisters. I think y'all probably know that by now. So one of my twin sisters, I'm not saying her name, but she works a lot. And the boy be in the crib. And of course, people watch him and stuff like that, but the boy not getting no stimulation like that. And all my sons are grown. So what happened was I see he's 9 years old, you know what I'm saying? He's getting heavy, he's getting overweight because he's not doing anything. It's summertime, and to be honest with you, he don't need to be outside because the way it is out here right at this present time. So I said, okay, you know what? This is getting a little ridiculous. So what I did was I told his mom, I said, listen, I'm gonna come get him every day. I'm gonna take him to work with me. I'm gonna teach him my trade. He's 9 years old, but he's a big 9. He's real big. He's probably about 4'11" already to be 9. He's really big. His dad's like 6'8". His dad, big dude. So I go. So I let her know whatever. So one thing about my sister, you say you gonna do something or for her son or whatever like that, she with it. So she like, well, listen, thank you, I'm glad you doing this for me because whatever you gonna teach him, I'm with it, you know what I mean? So I kind of like puts him in order, but he's not a bad child. He's a really respectful child. I mean, sometimes he'll get out of hand with his say a little slick shit out his mouth to his mom, and I checks his ass when, as soon as I hear it, I'm right there. Unc checks him quick. I don't play those games. We don't do the disrespect, right? So So she goes and buy him some work pants, the fluorescent shirts or whatever, some steel-toe boots, some gloves. She gets him, ready. Some knee pads and stuff. I said, damn, you know what I mean? You equipped him better than I'm equipped. You know what I mean? So I tell him I'll be at 8 o'clock to get him, right? Let me tell you what my sister told me he did. He got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He got washed. He made his breakfast. He ate his breakfast. By 7:30, he was sitting downstairs with his stuff waiting on me, right? Boom. So I get there at 8. He was already up, ready to go to work. 9-year-old child. I take him to work. I introduce him to my one of my homie, that I'm doing some work for. So I tell him, I said, well, listen, I'm gonna teach my nephew, whatever. And my boy he know that he be in the house or whatever like that. I bust it up with my homie all the time, right? So he like, oh, all right. So and listen, let me tell you something about having a real friend, y'all. My boy, he Haitian, right? He a Haitian dude, right? And let me tell you, y'all, I knew him for about 3 years, man. Me and him never had a disagreement about money. I can call him and tell him I need $900. He'll give me his whole paycheck. That man will give me his whole paycheck, y'all, without batting an ear, without even thinking about it. Like, me and dude never went through nothing over no bread. And it's vice versa. He called me, I give it to him. Or sometimes, you know, if I make a couple dollars, you know what I mean, I hit him like, bro, you good? You need some money or whatever. You know, if he need it, he'll say, yeah, if you can, you know what I'm saying? And I don't say I want it back. I give it to him, you know what I'm saying? Because that's just the type, we just tight like that, right? So let me tell you how this is a thorough dude, y'all. So he goes to my nephew and he says to me, he, you know, introduces himself, but something he didn't know that he was taught. My nephew was taught. My nephew was taught not to speak to strangers, right? And that's a serious rule that we have, right? When it comes to our children. Even though my sons are grown now, but this is a rule. So he introduces himself to my nephew. And he's, you know, saying, asking him questions, right? So he like, Dag, G, he said, he can't talk or something wrong? Like, he all right? I said, so I'm like not really paying attention. I hear him asking, but I didn't, you know, I wasn't really paying attention, but I know what would happen when he started trying to talk to him. So as he's talking to him, he's asking stuff. So like about into the sixth question, he says something to me like, gee, like, what's up with your nephew, man? Like he just looking at me. And then he was like, and he looking at you, right? So I said, oh, all right. So I said, well, ask him something else. So he asked me something else. So my nephew turned around and looked at me again. So he like, what's up? I said, so I tell him, I said, Giovanni. He said, yes. I said, he's okay. You can speak to him. So my nephew started talking to him like, oh yeah, I like this game, blah, 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 this, that, the whole conversation. So now my man Reef is stuck, right? He looking at me, he like, yo, what the fuck was that, right? So I'm like, no, that's like something that we embed in our kids, you know, when they're young. This is something, you know, my family do, right? So he like, bro, like, he said, hold on. You telling me he won't say nothing to no adult unless you tell him it's okay? I said, yep. I said, and he won't come nowhere near you. I said, so like if he was walking to the corner store and you stop and say, hey, how you doing? He'll run. He'll run straight to, right to the store, or he'll run straight in the house. Straight back to the house. I said, it ain't no talking to y'all. It ain't no nothing. You can't ask him nothing because he's not gonna communicate with you, right? I said, and the only time he will communicate with you is if he's like lost. But it has to be a cop or somebody of authority. You know what I mean? So he was like, yo, stop playing. I said, yeah. So he said, yo, I gotta call my sister. So I'm like, what? He like, yo, I gotta call my sister, man. She got, you know the kids she got and everything there. He said, yo, no, man, she gotta see this. He was like, this is the best thing I ever seen. He said, yo, I love this, man. So I'm like, okay. So he called his sister, right? So about half hour, about 45 minutes later, she come over, right? So we in there working. Oh, my fault. Let me make this known too. So, well, when Reef was asking him, and when I told Giovanni to start talking so he could talk to him or whatever, Reef asked him, what did he want to get paid? This is what I was saying about how thorough my homie is, because my homie already paying me to do a job, but my nephew's there, so my boy like, well, listen, I'm gonna pay him. I'm gonna pay him too. You know what I'm saying? So he like, asking what he want to get paid. So my nephew like, well, $60 is all right. So he like, all right, cool. He said, when the work day done, he said, you make sure you come to me to get your pay after we finish. And, and I just check and make sure you do all your work or whatever. He was like, because this is how you earn your money. So he was like, okay. So now we're going to go back to the park, right? So he called, his sister comes over, right? So his sister come over to my nephew. She like, how you doing? Try to speak to him. So he look at her and just walk away, right? Walk over to the other side of the room. He waved like that, but he won't say nothing, right? So he waved and he walked over. And she was like, what the hell? So then she was like, excuse me, can I ask you something? And he just looked at her, right? So now, since I told him it's okay to speak to Reef or whatever, he knows like Reef is an adult that he can, talk to, you know, something like that. So I'm not in that vicinity. So he turns around, he looks at Reef. So Reef looking or whatever, and she's trying to talk to him. So he just like, you know, go ahead, ask him something. And my nephew is just like looking at her, and she's saying stuff to him, and he's just looking at her. So next thing you know, she's like, what? She's like, I can't believe this. So Reef was like, watch this. He said, Javon, he was like, yes. He was like, she's okay. She you can speak to her. She's a good lady. So he was like, oh, hi, how you doing? My name's Giovanni or whatever. She was like, oh my God. She was like, oh my God. He would not communicate. So Reef like, yo, ain't that crazy? She was like, so she called me. She's like, hey, Greg. So I come downstairs because I was up in the bathroom doing something. So I'm like, what's up? She's talking about, oh, you got to show me how y'all did this or teach me what you told them. So I'm like, it ain't nothing to teach. It's just, you know, you instill in them and let them know, but it's got to be repetitive. Let them know you are not to talk to no adults. You know what I mean? Or walk away with them. But I said, but you also got to do something where, because some kids are hard-headed. I said, so you have to take stuff that they like away from them if they don't listen. You know, I said, you know, you got to whoop their ass sometimes if they won't listen. You got to put them in timeout, make their ass stand in the corner and hold a book up with their arms out straight on one foot. You know what I mean? I said, this is the punishment that I make him do when he out of pocket. It's all according on how bad he, you know, if he do something really bad, but he's not a bad kid. I said, the only time he really had to do something when he you know, he said something stupid out of his mouth to his mom, which, you know, he told her to shut up, but he was actually following after a child in school that disrespected his mom, so he tried it. And when he tried it, I was actually coming out the basement, you know what I mean, coming up the steps. So when he said what he said, and his mom was like, what you just say to me? And I came out, he thought he saw a ghost, boy, because his whole heart dropped down in his shoe. You could see his heart beating in his shoestrings. So I made him sit on the wall like a chair, and I gave him a book, and I made him hold the book with his hands out straight. You know what I mean? With his arms up. So I made him, I'm talking about like a dictionary. And I made him sit like in a chair position. You know what I mean? And I made him sit there for 30 minutes like that and hold that book up. And oh my God, yes. And you know what I asked him? I said, you ever gonna tell your mom shut up again? Or say anything out of hand that you know what I mean? He said, no, sir, no, sir. And that's, you know, that's the rule. It's not about scaring the kids. It's about respect. They have to learn respect. And dealing with boys, the man is the one that has to really implement that respect. Because I'm not trying to be smart, but y'all women, y'all can't do it. Because as soon as he gets your size, he's going to try you. Because you're not a lion. You're a lioness. Yeah, and you can be fierce and you can beat on him, but how much beating you think is going to hurt him? Versus when he's battling another lion that can literally do some serious damage that you can't do. So you got to look at it in that perspective. So this is why boys tend to get in line when they hear that roar come out their father's mouth or their uncle's or whatever mouth, because it's a different thing. It's different. And they know that, oh, he can hurt me. Yeah, you could bust him in his head with stuff, but it's not going to hurt like that. It's just not. I seen a woman pull a gun out on her son, and he still wasn't scared. But then his dad came in, and that motherfucker heart dropped out his ass. Like, you know, he had to get some tissue and get it off the floor because he was scared. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she was going to pop him in his leg. I mean, he was like 15, but when his dad walked in that door, man, his whole demeanor changed. But he was a gangster the whole time. His mom pulled a gun out on him, y'all, and that boy still wouldn't bend to her. So that just show you, y'all, like, it's just different. So, you know, so he, you know, she all hype and stuff. So, you know, I just tell her, you know, what's got to happen. I said, but, you know, actually I need to tell your husband this or whatever. So if, you know, or whatever. But usually, you know, I said, men don't like other men telling them what to do in their home, you know what I mean? I said, so you can run it across to him and see what he say. If that's something you want to do, fine. But if you don't, hey, I'm not, that's his house. He run his house the way he want to run it. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, so he gets to work, right? So we work from 8 till 12 at that house, right? So, he go up to my boy. He get, my boy pay him $60, right? So I pay him $60. So he made $120, right? Made $120, right? So I said, all right, so what you want to do? I said, you want to go home? It's 12 o'clock. You want to go home? Or I'm going to another job. You know what he told me? He said, I'm going to work with you. So we leave, we go to another job, right? So he asked me, he said, do I get paid for this job? I said, yeah, you get paid. What do you mean? Do you get paid for this job? I said, yeah, you're going to get paid for any work you do. So the other job, I taught him how to measure. I taught him how to use a miter saw. I showed him how to use a framing nail gun. Of course, I was standing right there. I was with him, holding, making sure he didn't do nothing stupid. But I showed him the safety and everything, put glasses on, helmet, all that. So, I had him measuring boards and stuff. So, I can cut them and everything. So, he learned a lot the first part of the day. The second part of the day, I worked from that one, at the other job, I worked from there till almost 10 o'clock at night. Let me tell y'all something. I took a 15-minute break because he was there. I don't take breaks. But let me tell y'all something. That little 9-year-old boy sat there and worked his ass off from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, y'all. He earned every damn dime. Everything he was asked to do, he did. And some. And when he got done certain things, so let's say, like, I tell him, or whatever, like, because there was other people on the second work site. So some guys will say, hey, yo, you mind if I ask your nephew to pile that wood up over there, whatever? And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So after he'll, like, one time, like, with one part, one of the guys asked him, could he pile the wood up in the corner or whatever, right? This is a 9-year-old child, y'all. I'm just telling you. These 2x4s, about the 10-footers, right? Stack it up real neat. It's about 50 pieces of board, right? My nephew stack it up. You know what my nephew did right after that? Pick the broom up and start sweeping the whole area up. So you know what happened? The boy that asked him to do it gave him $20, right? And then the stuff I had him do. So listen, he got paid $120 from one job, turned around and came home with another $160. And he made that in one day. He made that in one day, y'all. Yeah. Yeah, he came home with $280 for a day's work. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you what happened. So, on the TikTok video, I showed on TikTok video, he was in the passenger seat, knocked out, y'all. And I'm showing people, with him, how hard he worked and everything. And let me tell you what that boy said, man, when we got back to the house. He said, all right, he said, what time you want me to be ready tomorrow? I said, 8. I said, but make sure you get some sleep. I said, whatever. Y'all, when I got there to pick him up the next day, my sister told me the same thing. 6 o'clock in the morning, he set his alarm. 6 o'clock in the morning, he jump up, get in the shower, had his work clothes all out, ready to go. 7:30, he was sitting there waiting on me. This a 9-year-old, y'all. A 9-year-old. Yesterday, the same thing. The boy been working with me for almost 4 days, right? The only time he ain't go to work was today because I had to go look at jobs and stuff like that, right? So if I ain't got no money coming in, I surely ain't putting nothing out. You know what I mean? So today, the same thing, y'all. This a 9-year-old. A 9-year-old, y'all. Let me get my coffee real quick. Yeah, y'all. So, like I was saying, that's a 9-year-old, y'all. Damn 9-year-old. Got more work ethic than the most grown men. You know what I'm saying? it just make you think, like, you know what I'm saying? A 9-year-old child want to go to work more than a 30 or 40-year-old man. I had grown men complaining about having to go sit at a desk. This child want to go and hustle, you know what I'm saying? Well, it's probably because, you know, I used to hustle. Got hustle and his dad, you know, used to hustle, so I guess, and his mom, you know, my sister, she worked her ass off a lot too, so I guess that hustle in there. But let's get on some other stuff. So I know y'all seen the thing that happened in Alabama, right? Yeah, that was wild, right? That was serious. I know that's right. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I was hyped. I wanted to jump through the TV. I ain't even gonna front. But listen, y'all. I just seen something on TV where the Caucasian people have a game called Who Can Get Skin Burnt the Most. They are willingly killing themselves for fun, and you can tell that this, and it's not the sun, y'all. Y'all gotta understand that it's not the sun that's burning them up. It's the energy. You gotta think. Remember what I told y'all, that when we come together, we assume heat. We let off energy together. So when our vibration is high, you know what I'm saying, the frequency of the earth is going to change, and there's going to be a lot of energy going around. That's why I was like on TikTok, I had to let people know today, like, I don't get dark because of the sun. I get dark because of the energy. So when summer hit and the energy is different, because a lot of people are happy when it's, you know, when it warms up. A lot of people get happy. So when people frequencies go up, my skin darkens. And then the cold, when people kind of miserable, I lighten up. You know what I mean? I don't turn white because I'm not white, but you know, I turn like a light tan. So, or tan. So it's the same thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, y'all. And then like I've been telling y'all, they are vampires. They vampires. And there are different types of Caucasians too. It's not just one set race of Caucasians. There's different tribes of them. So you gotta look, because if you notice, the ones that have some type of spiritual connection, the ones that actually have sympathy and love for us, you notice nothing's happening to them, right? I mean, it might be something minute and minor, but it's not like what's happening to the other ones. The other ones that get flame boiled, but the ones that have like a love for us, it's nothing really happening to them. And you know, you got to look at that, y'all. You got to start thinking. It's all about frequency and state of mind. So yeah, they so the ones that's here, let me explain. I'm gonna give y'all the perfect video to describe the movie, to describe y'all what they are. So they are vampires, right? They you know, when there's too much energy around, they melt, they burn, right? Just like a vampire. When a vampire getting daylight, he burn. He gotta go. He gotta go underground to rejuvenate himself, right? Into the earth, right? That's what he do. He lay in the earth to rejuvenate himself. You know what I mean? The same thing with them. They come out of the earth, right? The sun burns them. They do drink blood and they do eat meat, but they are really what you call life force. They suck your life force. And to show you the perfect movie of what and who they are is the movie from 1984 called Life Force. So if you look up that movie, look at that movie from 1984, Life Force. When they went out of space, they found this giant ship that looked like an umbrella, and on there was these bats, giant bats, like vampire bats, like human size. And they found 3 human-looking beings in these capsules, but they turned out to be these vampires that changed their form, and they brought them back to the earth, and the woman was the actual transmitter. So the men would, you know, get the energy and send the energy through their female, and she would relay it back to the ship, right? So they would send the energy, you know, they would release the energy out of them like sperm and into their woman, and she would, collect the energy and release the energy like if she's having a baby. Same thing, into the ship. And this is why they up under us the way they are, because they absorb energy from us. They absorb energy, and this is why every time we go somewhere, they want to go, or they got to be up under our asses all the time, because they get energy from us. But now we're putting out so much energy, it's killing them. And like I told y'all before, we had to get, our vibrations had to get knocked down low, and a lot of us had to get killed, because if we didn't get killed, guess what? They wouldn't be able to live here now. You know what I'm saying? But listen, y'all, I'm gonna let y'all go. There's a lot of rollers out here, popo, and I ain't got time for the racist shit right now, so I'm gonna hit y'all later, alright? Shalom. I just wanted to give y'all some info. Shalom.